Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us all of a sudden on such a cold day. My name is Mohan Seshadri. I'm the Executive Director of APIPA, Pennsylvania's Asian American Civil Rights Organization, and we're a proud leader and member of the Save Chinatown Coalition. We're here today after a 2.5-year-long exercise in Philly City Planning 101, a city in which apparently billionaire developers get to write the rules, call the shots, and elected officials and communities are just expected to go along with it. For 2.5 years, as the entire city has seen, our community, as well as with allies and partners and stakeholders all across the city from every neighborhood and every community, have come together to make our voices heard and say no arena in the heart of our city. And we are so proud and so happy, we're so relieved and heartened that there will not be an arena in the heart of our city. We are so proud and happy and relieved that Chinatown, a 150-year-old community, will continue to stand strong. But let's be clear, it didn't have to be like this. None of this had to be like this. When we said 2.5 years ago that this arena was the wrong site, the wrong location for a project like this, that it was going to destroy Chinatown, that it was going to threaten access to Jefferson's ER, when it was going to impact SEPTA to the tune of $25 to $50 million a year. When we did research, when we did press conferences, when we did rallies and marches, when we organized our hearts out, when our elders and our young people took a rest in City Council and City Hall, we were told throughout the entire last 2 years, give up, shut up, go away. And we're still here. And our community is still here. And our movement is still here. And now it is time to build a Philadelphia that works for everybody, where community is at the driver's seat, where neighborhoods are calling the shots about what happens in their homes. And so as we enter this new phase of Philadelphia, in which we don't have the threat of an unnecessary, illogical arena on Market East threatening to devastate the surrounding area, as we enter this new phase of city planning, we sure hope that our elected officials have got the message that community should be at the table and should be centered in city planning decisions. And if not, regardless of where it is in city, our coalition, our members, our leaders are ready to build coalitions and fight and throw down to ensure that this is a city that works for everybody, and that we have a city hall that listens to its people, to its communities, and to its neighborhoods. And so I'm here to introduce an amazing line of speakers that will tell you exactly what kind of city we've been fighting for and exactly what kind of city we're going to continue fighting for. And first up is Wei Chen with Asian Americans United and the Save Chinatown Coalition.
Thank you, Moha, and thank you everyone for coming to the press conference. Today is the day that we have to celebrate very hard, because this is not just about Chinatown's winning. This is a winning, this is a celebration we should do together for people united, and people of color united together to fight against this big proposal going to damage our city, damage our community. As an immigrant come to the United States when I was 16, we always been told that we have to fight for existing, to fight for visibility. And here, today we've been proved that when people united, when we united together, we will be strong and more exist. Chinatown is beyond, thank you. Chinatown is beyond than a commercial area. Chinatown is a home for many people. It's a community for all of us. When we come here, we don't speak English. We come here for service. We come here for church. We come here for temple. We come here for celebration. This is our home already. How dare of the developer going to trying to throw in a proposal to destroy our community? How dare of the politician pretend to understand and pretend care about our community and vote for yes to the arena? They should be ashamed of themselves. And our community, our next generation, our future generation will continue remember those people who vote for yes to destroy our community. And today's winning is one of the role models showing the people united will never be defeated. Today's winning is a proof to showing the next generation how to fight. Even though we are from different background, we're from a different generation, and we may speak a different language. And when we united, when we communicate, we can be strong against big billionaire. I'm here.
Thank you so much, Wei. Next up, we have Harry Leung from the Chinese Christian Church and Center and the Philly Suns.
It's a good day. It's a good day for us, huh? But I come with mixed emotions. You know, we as was said, you know, 2.5 years of this battle against the billionaires, even against our own politicians, is really discouraging. As Mohan was saying, you know, we have politicians who heard and asked the right questions, but when it came down to voting, five of them decided to vote in support of communities, and the other 12 chose to support billionaires, and the billionaires got the best out of this bargain. They got their arena in South Philly. They also have the land. They're set to take over the land here, so that they have the real estate. So that's the battle that we face. And as Mohan said, we have a difficult challenge. We need to change the narrative in the city. We need to care for our city. We need to do the right thing. And I think the politicians that we've elected, I think they do know what the right thing is. But you know, money actually really is the battle that we face. And we will continue to face that battle if we will continue to struggle. We continue to follow money as our source. The city really needs to plan and plan well for these type of developments, and that won't affect communities, that won't affect our city. So this is a time to celebrate for us, but yet we also have to have a cautious eye to look ahead too as well. So we're moving on.
Thank you, Harry. You know, as so many of you have seen, this has really been a citywide fight. As you've heard just now, this has been a citywide fight that has united so many different communities and neighborhoods against this illogical and horrible and nonsensical proposal. And we're so incredibly grateful for so many of the leaders who stood up all across the city and said, this isn't right. We're so grateful for council members Kendra Brooks, Nick O'Rourke, Rue Landau, Jamie Gauthier, and Jay Young for voting the right way and doing the right thing. And we're also so grateful that in the midst of all of this targeted division, targeted rancor, the millions of dollars that was spent on PR and lobbying and canvassing and messaging and ads and everything else, we had key allies who stood strong with us throughout the entire process. So next up, I'm delighted to call up Reverend Holston from Black Philly for Chinatown, an important ally in this fight.
This is a great day. It's a great day because organizing made the difference. Organizing made the difference. Organizing the people made the difference. Don't, in the press, don't go for any other narrative. Don't believe billionaires got together and found some way to agree. They made those decisions because the people in this community organized with people all over the city to be able to say to them no, and they knew that 70% of the people in the city did not want this arena, that it didn't make sense, it was a bad deal, and that the people would vote them out if they did continue with it. When you have state leaders like our governor saying, I'm not going to give any money to SEPTA for this, when you have other state leaders already saying that, you already had momentum in place, so all of the wishes that they wanted to build this stadium down here, this arena down here, would not happen. The organizing created all of that, and created the narrative, and created the movement, the sacrifice of people getting on the floor of city council and willing to put their bodies on the line to go to jail for this cause. Black and white and Asian all standing together. It was all of them who've been organizing for this last 2 years that has made the difference. It is regular people who, when they're told the story, like one black woman who wrote me, who heard the story and said, why would they do this to these people? Why? There's something called empathy in the black community that we feel deeply. And the empathy that we felt for the people here in Chinatown is the same empathy we feel for ourselves in North Philadelphia, in West Philadelphia, in South Philadelphia, where the same process is happening over and over and over again, where people are pushing and displacing people of color out of this city. And even in the midst of our own pain, we can still stand with some other people, because that's who we are. We can't do nothing else. So I'm disappointed at those leaders who don't understand that we would feel this empathy, and we believe that we could build and grow together, and all of us can succeed together. We don't have to put one group down for somebody else to build up. We all can be lifted up. There's enough wealth in this city, in this state, in this country for all of us to live better. We don't have to destroy one neighborhood so that we can prosper. And the message is loud and clear from regular, everyday black folk that that's how they feel. That's how they feel. So I am so privileged to say, to stand with some great young black organizers, great black leaders that are coming up, that will let an old head stand with them a little bit, listen a little bit, learn a little bit, talk a little bit. And one of them is standing with me today that is going to be one of the new leaders for our city who understands people first before profits. And she's going to come and share a little bit more. Let me just make one more point before I introduce her, is that now we have a movement for change. Now we have a coalition that is called the Save the Chinatown Coalition, but it's really a Save Philadelphia Coalition. Of black and white and Asian, of people of all different races and backgrounds who are going to say to billionaires over and over again, you're not going to run our city, you're not going to decide for us. We're going to build together a city where all of us can thrive, where all of us can live, where all of us can have quality schools and neighborhoods that are safe, where all of us can be what we all need to be in this city, and build what this mayor calls and what this mayor says, one city for real, united together. Yes, I will stand on what she says. The vision is right. The methods may be wrong, but we're going to work together so that the methods are right. One Philadelphia for all of us includes Chinatown. And now we're going to bring on the person who pulled me into this, Black Philly for Chinatown, Brittany Alston, the leader of the executive director of the Philadelphia Black Worker Project.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. This is why you don't let the old heads go first. They say everything already. I'm so honored to be here with all of you in this victory. This is a victory for the people, okay? This is a victory for the people. Black Philly for Chinatown started because, you know, I heard our mayor say earlier today, this wasn't just about the arena. She's right, right? We were not just here because of the arena. We were here because we were watching our elected officials bend over backwards for billionaires. Bend over backwards for us, right? We have a political imagination for this city that goes beyond what it means to plop an arena in the middle of people's homes, in the middle of their places of worship, in the middle of their places of services. It does not need to be my community for me to understand the importance of resisting the power of billionaires and making sure that we do not allow them to create a playbook that will reshape North Philly, that will reshape South Philly, which it already has done in so many different ways. So this was an exercise for us in resistance. Whether or not they had their own deals moving for us, this was an exercise in resistance. And we will continue to resist. We will continue to push back. I heard some of the billionaires that lined up behind our mayor, that lined up behind our elected officials today, say that we were looking to maintain the status quo. That is nonsense. We have freedom dreams. We have a political imagination. We know what we want in this community. We could ask anybody behind me today, and we could say exactly what our people need. Black, brown, working class white people in this city. We all have needs, and those needs were not tax giveaways that otherwise could have funded our schools. Those were not us thinking about how we can fund more policing systems, right, that would have come down here instead of actually giving people what they need. So I am here to say that Black Philly for Chinatown, that the Alliance for a Just Philadelphia claims this as a victory of the people. It claims this as an exercise in resistance, so we can continue to resist as we move forward. Thank you all.
Thank you, Britt. You know, for the last 2.5 years, you've heard so much from Chinatown. But let's be clear, every neighborhood around this proposed arena site fundamentally and vocally opposed this project. And none of these communities had their voices heard. Every local RCO, every registered community organization, every single neighborhood said no arena in the heart of our city. And the city government processes that were put in place to make our neighbors' voices heard failed all of us. And so we're here to uplift the voices of our neighbor, No Arena Wash West, Katie Garth.
That the Sixers will say in South Philly is a massive victory and a reason for us to celebrate. That it almost didn't happen that way and how it came to die is a reminder that billionaires call the shots as long as our elected representatives allow them to, no matter how Mayor Parker tries to spin it. This was never a WNBA bid. This was a colossal waste of time and city resources. Over the last 2.5 years, our city's welfare was endangered by public officials who bought into these lies despite our warnings. We will not forget their deliberate disregard this next election cycle. The people demand City Council and the Mayor exercise better judgment in future initiatives. And with respect for the voices of everyday Philadelphians. When Chinatown rings the alarm next time, will you listen? To conduct city planning as an exercise in courting outside investors doesn't make a city, it makes a private equity portfolio. The city now has a chance to plan strategically with the input of the real stakeholders, the people who live and work here every day. Had the wind blown in a slightly different direction, there is no doubt the Sixers would have made good on their plans and spent the next decade destroying the heart of our city. Make no mistake that corporate calculations depend heavily on public perception. The Save Chinatown Coalition's tireless work in educating our city about this plan should make every Philadelphian proud. As we stand here today in front of Chinatown's Friendship Arch, our group from Washington Square West is incredibly grateful to have been welcomed into this fight so wholeheartedly and enthusiastically. Intentional or not, our politicians have united the city. Our bonds of solidarity are strong and lasting, and we are here for what comes next. We will be watching, and we won't forget.
Thank you, Katie. Next up, we have the Executive Director of Asian Americans United, which has been in the fight to defend Chinatown and build a city that works for all of us for over 30 years. Vivian Chang, Executive Director of AAU.
Thank you all. Just a quick add-in, yeah. No, I mean, you've heard it already. This is a fight that has been about the city, that is about the city of the future, right? Too many elected officials, yeah, we won. Too many elected officials are thinking backwards. They're thinking status quo. They're thinking, how can we continue to do what the billionaires want us to do, right? At the mayor's press conference, it was David Edelman, Josh Harris. It's all about billionaire developers. It was not about the people. Where were the people reflected, right? They're reflected in this organizing, in this victory that the people have claimed. And I know, I mean, I will say personally, it was a depressing look to the new year. And yet, here we are, right? The year of the dragon, the tail whips back. But no, for serious, I think like tens of thousands of people, right, have organized with us, signed the petition, marched on the streets. Like, we are eternally grateful. And this solidarity is something that has brought Philly together in a way that has not been seen in years, right? We're facing an incoming, very hostile federal administration. We're facing a city government that isn't really thinking about us. So who's gonna save our city? It's us, right? We hope we can do it in partnership with city government. We would love to have allies in the mayor, in council. So we ask for that, but we also know it's on us. And I thank you all for doing this with us.
Last but certainly not least, we got a next generation of our own coming up here in Chinatown. We got Taryn Flaherty and Kaya Chow from the Ginger Arts Center.
Hello everyone, we are young people of Philly. We are leaders from the Students for the Preservation of Chinatown and the Ginger Arts Center, a community youth and arts center in Chinatown North. Our No Arena fight is a wake-up call to the city. It was a wake-up call that galvanized hundreds of students and of young people in high school and in college. The high schoolers of Students Against the Sixers Arena. We want a city that fights for our schools and our libraries harder than the whims of billionaires. It's a wake-up call to our mayor and our city council that when you roll out a red carpet for the Sixers, you become the carpet they will trample all over. We see them for who they are and their cowardice. It's a wake-up call for our communities to stand united against division and the hateful politics that are going on in our city and in our nation. It's a reminder that the very future of our communities is at stake, and no deal is ever a done deal. Chinatown has built and led a citywide movement which has inspired youth all across our city, and today we and our fellow youth are so happy to celebrate this win, but our work is not done.
Let's be clear. It's shameful that our youth have been able to demonstrate better community leadership than the mayor and city council members throughout this fight. Young people like us have been shaped into leaders by this movement. We've learned how to lead protests, advocate for ourselves to city council, educate ourselves and our peers, and create safe spaces for our community. For many young people, this movement was our first organizing experience. We are so grateful to the Chinatown activists and activists across the city, really, who continue the community tradition of passing down methods of resistance to the next generation. It is because of them that we become stronger with each fight. We have built a generation of leaders that will never give up, never cower, and never stop fighting. We have nothing but hope for the future of Chinatown and Philadelphia, and its drive, and have the drive to continue to build the city that we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming out and hearing our voices. I opened this by talking about Philly City Planning 101, and if I can leave you with one thing, it's this. Let's learn from this. Let's get to work building a city that works for everybody, where community voices are heard. Let's listen to Philly Thrive about what is happening with Hilco and Gray's Ferry. Let's listen to the UC townhomes and the folks fighting for a West Philadelphia that is affordable for working class black residents. Let's listen to unions like Unite Here, who are fighting not just for workers, but for communities and those workers' families.
Yes.
Let's remember that this 2.5-year battle is not the end. It's not the beginning. It is what, the 4th, 5th, 6th Save Chinatown fight in the last couple decades? It's what, the 10th, 15th, 20th anti-gentrification, anti-displacement fight Philly has seen in the last 50 years? It is time to draw that line in the sand and call the question on who does Philadelphia work for? Who does City Council work for? And who does City Hall work for? And we're hoping that from here on out, it'll be community voices and community leaders and community organizations that are at the table when these decisions are being made. And if it's not, and where it's not, we are ready to work with you, fight with you, build with you, and throw down with you to build a city that listens to all of us and works for all of our communities. Thank you so much. There's been a lot of rumors, there's been a lot of stories coming out. I'm sure we're going to find out all of the facts in the next couple days, in the next couple weeks.
How do you view emotional work that you all put into this? Like,
Sure. I'm going to go one by one, just left to right, if that works. Cool.
Any of you talk about the emotional work you put into this? We saw people break down, we saw people get arrested, we saw people go through so much, only to say, no, we're not going to take your point of view, but then have the arena come back and say, okay, we'll do it now. Talk about what was spent emotionally on this and how you feel now knowing that the city said they made the difference, not you.
I think about, just to answer the tail end of your question first, I think a lot about how 2.5 years ago, every single person told us that it was a done deal. And then we talked to our elders and our leaders and communities all across the city, and they said, no way is this a done deal, we're gonna fight. And I think about that parking bill that they tried to sneak through at the 11th hour back in December of 2022. If that thing has passed, there would be shovels in the ground already. This thing would have happened. So to anybody who says community doesn't matter, movements don't matter, organizing didn't have any impact on this, look at the last 2.5 years and tell me that organizing didn't have any sort of impact on this. Look at the end result. A safe Chinatown, a heart of the city that is preserved, and a future that we can build on in which our communities can work together and be united. Tell me that that's not on organizing and on movement building. And on the emotional side of this, to see especially, and I'd love for Wei to speak to this as well, as someone who is rooted here in Chinatown and works for Asian Americans United, to see elders and young people get brutalized in City Hall, to get dragged out, to get thrown on the ground, to be not just physically but verbally assaulted. It's been heartbreaking. It has been a heartbreaking process. They better never do shit again.
How do you
Wait.
How do you respond to the Comcast and Harris Blitzer saying that they will revitalize Market East?
We've said from the beginning that this is not about no development on Market East. This is about the right development on Market East that supports local communities, that supports local neighborhoods, that builds up rather than tears down. And so we see this as an opportunity to say, hey, if you're going back to the drawing board, let's be at the table, let's be part of the conversation, let's make this the win for Philly that you've been claiming, that the developers have been claiming this would be all along. Let's do this right. And let's have the conversations that you should have had 2.5 years ago, rather than telling us we're just going to ram this thing through come hell or high water.
And a follow-up to that, do you trust Mayor Parker saying today that she's still committed to giving the resources that City Council approved to Chinatown and the area?
I'm glad to hear it, and I believe in the power of the people to make sure that all of our communities are protected and all of our communities have the resources that they need.
With the community, how does she know what you need?
Sorry, say that again?
Sherelle Parker hasn't met the Chinatown community. I know you've invited her multiple times. Then how does she know what you need?
Look, I think that we're in a new phase all of a sudden. This is the time to have those conversations that should have been had long ago and hasn't been had now. We're open to having those conversations. We're ready to have those conversations. The door is entirely open to having those conversations.
The city has promised for years, you know, in urban plans for Chinatown, they've never gotten. If I were to ask you today, which I am, how confident are you that you're going to get that plan under Mayor Cheryl Parker? How confident are you?
So two things. One, we just heard just from this press conference just now that they're accelerating this master plan for the area. We want to hear more details. We want to be at the table. We want to have those conversations. Again, I have every faith and every confidence in this movement. I have faith in PCDC to know what is necessary for this community, and I have faith in this group to fight for it and to hold our elected officials accountable. That's what I have faith in. That's what I have confidence in, and we're ready to work with anybody who's willing to engage with us and to trust that faith and to listen to our voices.
As a follow-up, you know, Sixers have committed to doing some sort of new CBA for Chinatown after going back to square one. How confident are you going into hammering that out with them again, given all the tension of the past 2.5 years?
There's been a lot of tension. There's been a lot of heartache. There's been a lot of grief. There's been a sword hanging over the head of this community for 2.5 years. I'm not going to stand here and say that we need that acknowledged. We need a heart-to-heart, you know. But I think we got to see that outreach. We got to see that engagement. We got to see that good faith. And we're here in good faith saying, hey, you've got a vision. We've got a vision. Let's sit down, compare notes, figure out how to make this a win for Philly, because Philadelphia is too important to leave this stuff up to developers, and Philadelphia is too important to leave communities away from the table when it comes to decisions like these.
Final question, I'll step back. With that in mind, did anyone from the Wolf-Blitzer Sixers organization give any member of the coalition a heads up that this deal was not happening prior to it being announced yesterday?
I think a lot of things happened very quickly yesterday in very quick succession. So whether in terms of when it went public versus when any heads up happened.
They said there was a 2-week negotiating period. Did anybody Comcast or the team?
Sure. I can say that this coalition found everything out yesterday.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any last questions and any other voices that you'd like to hear from?
Much of the mayor's press conference was spent elsewhere focusing on angles not having to do with Chinatown. How do you respond to this idea of these spinning angles, other focuses being brought to the table that have less to do and perhaps might take attention away from these matters here, including the WNBA?
I'll say that we're not here asking for a permanent spotlight to be shown on our community. We're not asking for all of the attention in the room all the time. We're asking for our community's voices to be heard and our community's needs to be respected. We're glad that the end result of this 2.5-year heartbreaking, heart-rending, exhausting process is that our community is safe. And let's get to work in making sure that our community is heard from here on out.
What is your immediate next step?
Our immediate next step is to take a long nap, to bring our community together, to actually breathe a sigh of relief, eat a lot of good food, celebrate Lunar New Year, which is about to kick off, and then we're going to get back to work fighting for all of our communities. And I think we're going to wrap up here. Cool. Thank you all so much. Have a great day.